Genjitsu, sorry to hear you lost your job. That sucks. Hopefully you get back on your feet again soon. Is there any work in FPV that is profitable? Any part of it, from being a manufacturer to reseller to a service provider? There are companies out there that will hire you, like, to build drones. You know, maybe warehouse work if you live in one of the few cities where there's a warehouse. Sarasota is one. Get FPV and Race Day Quads are in Sarasota. I don't actually know the city that Pyrodrone is in. I think they might have moved recently. So, like, if you live in Sarasota, you could probably get a job at Get FPV working in the warehouse, just doing picking, shipping, etc. But as far as profitable, like, you quickly get into the world of entrepreneurship. And to be an entrepreneur is usually not profitable unless you work very hard for a long time at great expense to yourself, and then eventually maybe you make it, maybe you don't. You know, it's not a sure thing for sure. There is profitable work out there, but most of it is very difficult, and you're not just going to wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to make drones today, right? So if you're not already positioned to be doing that, and you're looking for a way to pay the rent this month, that's not how to do it, in my opinion. Woot89, thank you for a $5 super chat. What are your thoughts on the new Beta FPV Pavo 2.0 Pro, and are you going to review it? The Pavo 2.0 Pro is not, like, interesting enough that I would be like, hell yes, I'm going to review it. I might not. It's hard to say. What is it? Oh, it's trying to be like a Flywoo. It's just like the Flywoo not Synologue. Frickin' 75 millimeter. Interesting. Nice picture. That's a good picture. 1104 motors. Does it come with a naked? I want it to come with a naked 03. So it's basically a Pavo 2.0. 2-inch props, DJI 03. You know how you get an 8 to 11% thrust boost. That's interesting. Interesting claim, if true. I mean, the Pavo 2.0 wasn't bad. I don't think it was the best in that category, but it wasn't bad. Linear power like a cheetah. That's you made that up. You made that up. You just made that up. That's just such bullshit. Like, some of these things are facts, like a thrust-to-weight ratio greater than 5.1, but stable linear power like a cheetah reflexes propulsion system. Give me a break, guys. Come on. It's cute. It's cute. Looks like there's some solid improvements over the V1. I'd love for it to come with a naked 03. The difference between the fly lens, that's what it was. The fly lens 85 with the naked 03 and the fly lens with the full 03 was pronounced. And I would definitely liked the naked one better. Mark Optics asks, can you make build videos for 03 racing? No, not really. No offense, Mark. Racing frames are not made for the size of the 03. Like, I think there's, like, the iFlight Mach R5 comes with the 03 and it can be technically a racing drone. But, like, race organizers generally don't like dealing with 03 and DJI because of the timing systems. I know it can be done, and if you have a drone with an 03 and you feel like going to a race, don't be discouraged. You 100% should go, right? If you have a drone with an 03 and you want to race, 100% you should go to a race. Like don't go to nationals. But, like, go out to your local race, show up, meet the people, and be like, hey, can I get in a heat? They'll make room for you. They'll make it work, right? But at the end of the day, you know, 03 is not ideal for racing. The variable latency, the variable output power, the frequencies being all weird, mess with the timing system. The minute you decide, okay, I like this racing thing, I'm going to do racing, you should build an analog or an HD0 quad, 100%. So I don't know why I would make content about 03 for racing when that's not what you should be doing if you're making a racing drone. The only reason you should be flying an 03 at a race is you showed up at the race and an 03 is what you happen to own because it's your first race. or your second race or your fifth race. But the minute you sit down to build a racing drone, it shouldn't have an O3 in it. That's my opinion. I'm getting less than 20 meters of range line of sight at 1 watt with my VR03 goggles and upgraded antenna before my signal craps out. Do I need to buy better goggles? No. Thank you for $5 Canadian. Alex, something's effed up in your system. Something's effed up. You definitely should get more range than that. My best guess is that your VTX is in pit mode. You think it's at 1 watt, but it's not. It's actually in pit mode. What I always tell people to do in situations like this is look at the LEDs on the VTX. The LEDs on the VTX will show you what output power the VTX thinks it's at. Find the manual for the VTX, look at it, look in the manual, and see how you can tell if the VTX is in pit mode, P-I-T mode, pit mode. And then if it's in pit mode, then figure out how to take it out of pit mode, usually by like holding down the power button or something. Bear in mind that if Betaflight says the VTX is not in pit mode, sometimes the VTX will still be like, yeah, screw you, I'm in pit mode. So you can't always assume that what you see in your OSD is right. Also, you may just not be talking to the VTX at all. If you set the VTX up wrong, if you've set the flight controller up wrong, if you've done the wiring wrong, then everything you do in Betaflight is not getting to the VTX. And Betaflight's like, yeah, you're at 1 watt. But Betaflight has no idea that the VTX isn't getting the message. So... First time commenter, I use Expo on my planes. Is it recommended on drones? Yes, but no. In planes, you set up the Expo in the controller. On drones, you set up the Expo or the curve in the flight controller. And the reason for that is that the flight controller can do much more sophisticated calculations and get the Expo curve exactly right, whereas a custom curve or something like that in the controller doesn't have as much nuance. Or in the hand controller, doesn't have as much nuance. Is it trespassing if I fly my drone over a fence but don't step foot over there? No, by definition. So Brandon Beans, I should say there are some places in the U.S. where they have passed like drone trespassing laws. Not at the federal level, but maybe at the state level. And they've said that if you fly a drone, then you're trespassing. Barring that, no. The traditional definition of trespassing requires your physical presence on the property, and flying a drone does not count. Drums or flats? Asks ME. What kind of chicken wings do you like? I never pay more for all drums or all flats. I got to tell you, I think that like drums are like easier to eat because you just eat off the bone, right? Whereas flats, you have to kind of like, you have 2 bones you have to work for. I kind of like the experience of eating a flat better. I'm not sure why. Like a flat has a little bit nicer skin to meat ratio, so it's got the crispy skin but also the meat, and there's something about just like stripping the flat that's really satisfying. But I mean, I'll tear up some drums as well. So